Hey everybody, as some of you may know, I tore my pec this past week. Tore it on Saturday. It is now Tuesday. You can see some of the bruising of the bicep there. We'll eventually pop this off so you can see. But I was on the internet looking for steps to recovery of a pec tear. Very few videos, so I thought that I might document what I'm going to do. My operation is going to be on Thursday. I'm not sure the time yet, so I'm 2 days out from my operation. I'll have my post-op appointment on Friday, and then it's just going to be the road to recovery from there. Surgeon told me that the first week is going to be very strict movement of that brace, not really moving at all. Following Friday, so 8 days after I get closed up, I will begin PT. PT, they said it's going to be about 5 weeks of stretching out. So, just so we know, of my right arm, this is what the mobility is. I already don't have a lot of mobility. Maybe in this time that I'm not obviously working out, this mobility will get better from just total inflammation going down. But this is what I got on my good side right now. So a lot of stretching out for those first 5 weeks. Then entering the second month, can start to do some weight bearing or resistance exercises. This is all just from the surgeon, so he's taking a very conservative approach. I don't know if I'm going to be that conservative. We're going to obviously play it by feel once that time comes around. But right now I'm thinking, maybe when I start that PT, I've seen some things of like doing little motions. Like I can still move the bad side right now. It is in pain, but I can move it, and this is considered contracting when it is torn. So doing things like that within those first 2 weeks. But I think 5 weeks for resistance is a long time. I'm not worried about losing any muscle. That all can come back, probably greater. But I'm just worried about building up too much scar tissue in that 5-week window, 2 months. So again, just kind of prefacing everything before the surgery. I'll do a little update that I'll probably clip into this right after the surgery. And then maybe a clip at the end of the first week before going into my first session of PT. We'll see how long this first segment probably is, and I'd like to be about 10-minute intervals, and this might be my first YouTube video ever. So give a like and a subscribe to follow along my recovery path, and if you are also suffering the same injury, then I wish you the best, and hopefully I get through it successfully and you can follow my steps, because there's not really anything on the internet out there that really broke it down as great as I want to break it down. So I'll pop this now, show you the swelling of the pec and the bruising of the bicep. It's going to be hard to get this off, so bear with me. Actually, I've kind of mastered the John Cena shirt takeoff, which is necessary with this injury, but I don't know if you guys can tell, left pec clearly more swollen than the right. I'm swole in general, but that's kind of where we stand 2 days out of the operation, 3.5 days since the tear. That is the bicep. This hurts right now. Any higher, it's going to hurt a little bit more. That is the bruising on the bicep. Over the next week to 2 weeks, I imagine that this is going to get completely black, at least here. I'm not too sure about the pec. Incision is going to go right about here. Said it's going to be anywhere from 2 to 4 inches. And that's my cue to start talking to him and stop talking to you guys. But the reattachment is pretty seamless, whether it was a it is a full tear, but there's tearing off the bone and just tearing the tendon off the muscle. And without an MRI, because MRIs of this tendon, the tendon being so small, you can miss what it is. So they're just going to open it up and attack it from what they see the day of the surgery. So I'm not too sure. I will get the surgical notes and follow up on what it was. Either way, the recovery is the same. The pain is going to be the same afterwards. But it is a full tear. He could feel the tendon loose here, and he could feel when I did the pressure test trying to clap my hands that I had no pressure on the left hand here. So he said, sling isn't necessary. I can't damage it anymore at this time unless I want to get in a street fight like someone else that he knew did. But I'm not going to be going and doing that. So I'm going without the sling because I know that I will be in the sling for at least a week to come. Trying to keep my hand moving because the person who put the sling on the first time put it on so poorly where my hand was below my heart. So I started to pool up blood all up in my forearm and my hand. Got real swollen. See, that's the benefit of the sling, because I wouldn't have done that. But you might be able to tell this one's still a little bit more swollen, nothing crazy now. But keeping it moving just to get that blood flow going. I'll have to do that while in the sling, just up and down, keeping in this motion. But bear with me, and I'll check in soon enough. Alright, so I'm about 2 hours since my surgery, or at least since I woke up from my surgery. I got my father here filming because I don't have my tripod handy, so commend him on his amazing camera work here. But nothing right now besides kind of keeping it mellow today. Gonna go find a nice spot on my couch to post up, keep the dog off me, and trying to play, and have the post-op appointment tomorrow with the surgeon to give me next steps. But right now, got my little minion here to promote. Not that minion, the one in my hand. This minion here has a little stress ball to promote some blood flow into the arm, and just gonna squeeze it a little bit here and there. Other than that, no mobility, and I am even taking baby steps while I'm walking. I got my diabetes socks to to give me compression so I don't get any blood clots in the surgery. It's crazy how something down there can affect something up here, but that's how it is. And I'll follow up after the appointment tomorrow, maybe during the appointment. I'm going to see if the doctor's willing to show his face and kind of talk to you guys as well as me and let you know what needs to be done for next steps. So stay tuned. You can see it popping out there. A little bit more than the 3 inches. Like 4 or 5.
A little bit.
What's going on, people? This is going to be the last check-in for week 1. Got back from the post-op appointment a couple hours ago where the doctor told me I did a great job and I was an A+ candidate because I got into the door so fast. So if this does ever happen to you and you're researching what should I do, get to the doctor and get it repaired. The longer you wait, the less elastic that the muscle is, and it makes it harder on the surgeon, and it makes it harder on your recovery. So if you tore your muscle, or you think that you tore a muscle, get into the doctor ASAP. Speaking of tearing muscles, the muscle tore off of the tendon in my case. The tendon did not tear off of the bone, which is the other type of pectoral tear. This kind of repair is a little more difficult for the surgeon because they are attaching muscle to tendon, so soft tissue repair, rather than just stretching the tendon out, stapling it to the bone, and letting it mend and heal on its own. So he said that this recovery might be a little bit longer, as if I were to do the other type of tear. I have a PT appointment, my first PT appointment next Friday, a week from today. That's 13 days out from the original tear, 8 days out from the surgery. I'm in this restrictive sling until then, where they're just going to start to move my hand out and out a little bit more. Doctors were very adamant on me keeping my arm in front of my body because here the muscle is closed, giving this a better chance to repair. As if it were here, you could see that the chest kind of stretches and that muscle opens up, and it is a little bit harder for it to mend. So arm in front of me, adamant about keeping it there. If I see it start to slide that way, which you might, I have to gently adjust it that way, because even slight movement like that kind of hurts. Going to meet with a wellness clinic doctor next week, referred to me by my surgeon. This guy administers additional medication for recovery purposes. I'm going to talk to him about peptides. I'm interested in BPC 157, which a lot of people have heard about, but also other peptides that work hand in hand with that one. So I'm going to do my own research on the side before stepping into the office and just saying, yeah, I'll take whatever you give me, which a lot of people tend to do. I'm going to bring my own information and my own taste for which I want to the table. So interested to see what he has to say. I've never gone that route. I know that route is very good for people who experience tears. I've seen great stories about weight loss and all this stuff. Just BPC, I'll get into it in a later video of what it can do, and all the other peptides after I talk to the wellness clinic, and maybe he introduces me to some that aren't mainstream like the others, and I could be your first test dummy. So not only am I going to be working with you and showing you what I do when it comes to rehab and all that stuff, but also telling you what supplements I'm taking and what medications I'm taking as well. On that note, I'm trying to limit the amount of ibuprofen I'm taking because it is an anti-inflammatory. Instead of taking it every 6 hours like it says on the label, I'm only taking one a day, and I'm taking that before bed just to help with the pain management before bed. I can mentally deal with most of the pain throughout the day. I am taking my other prescriptions throughout the day for my nerve damage and all that stuff. But the ibuprofen, which is an anti-inflammatory, I'm only taking once a day because I think there needs to be some inflammation in that body, so my body is regulating the healing, and I'm not just kind of pushing it down, pushing it down, pushing it down, and my blood cells aren't doing what they're meant to be doing. So between the avoiding the anti-inflammatory and doing the simple squeeze work of my squeeze ball that's out there right now, I am issuing blood flow to this part of my body as well. So those are just things that I'm doing that I've read up on and I believe would help my recovery. I haven't seen them on the internet, so take this with a grain of salt. What works for me might not work for you, but I hope it does. And keep me in your prayers for my recovery, and stay tuned for the next episodes.